Okay, so now we want to give the user the ability to choose which page they want to select, and to do this we'll make use of Angular Bootstrap once again. And if we click on the documentation, then inside here we can see that we have an option for pagination. And if we just take a look and see what this gives us, then it gives us the ability to switch between different pages. And we need to go ahead and import a pagination module, and because I know it's going to fail, I'm just going to copy the import from here. Because it's just so disappointing to see it fail every time, I'm not going to give it the option to disappoint me. So I'm going to paste it in here. Haha, take that, VS Code. And what we'll do is we'll just import this here. So we need the pagination module. And again, we need to use for root. For any of these Angular Bootstrap components, we always need that. And if we want to make it work in our component, we need to export this as well. So now we have that. Let's just go and take a look at some of these examples and see what we want to use. All of these are styled pretty similar. And if we keep going down, we can see one with custom links where we've got the double arrows and then single arrow to go between. And this one looks fine. I'm just going to copy this into my clipboard and go across to VS Code once again, and we're going to go to our member list components, and underneath this div we'll add another div, and we want this pagination stuff to appear in the center of our page. So what we'll use is we'll use the flex box. So what we need to do to use that is say d-flex, and then that gives us access to justify content center. And what we'll also do is just make sure that we have pagination. So what we'll use is a check inside here, and we'll say a-ng if, and we'll check to make sure we've got the pagination property. And then inside this div, what I'll do is I'll just paste in what I copied from NGX Bootstrap, and let's see if we can tidy this up a little bit. And let's just go and make sure we can see this on the page. So if I go back to my browser, then we can see we've got our pagination here now. And if I refresh the page, the fact we can see this means that we have our pagination header now stored inside our component. Now the pagination doesn't work because we need to do something to tell it how many items per page there is, what the total items is, so that it can calculate what it's supposed to display inside this. So we'll head back to VS Code, and what we need to do here is specify in the total items. What we can use is our pagination and total items. We'll also add a property for items per page, and we'll set this equal to pagination.items per page. And what we'll also do is we need to use an ng model in here for two-way binding, so that we can receive the current page and we can also update the current page going the other way as well. So what we'll do is we'll say a-ng model, and we'll say pagination dot current page, and then what we need is what to do when the page actually changes. So we need to use the page changed event from inside here, and then we can specify page changed, and we can pass through the event. And when we click on any of those pagination buttons, then we're going to be calling this particular method. So we need to create this method inside our component. So we'll go back to our member list component, and what we'll do is we'll say page changed, and we'll take the event that we get from NGX Bootstrap, and we'll just use any for this one, and we'll say list.pageNumber equals events.page, and then we'll say list.loadMembers so that we go and get the next batch of members from our API. So with this in place, we should be able to test that this is working, and we can see 3 pages. Now in my case I've got 13 possible users, so that makes sense. And if I click on page 2, then we load our second page of users, and if we click on page 3, we get our third page of users, and we can go back to 1, and we can go straight to 3, and these double links should take us straight to the first page, and the other one should take us straight to the third page. And they should also be disabled as well if there's no more pages to click onto, and we get that functionality via the boundary links input. This means it understands what boundaries there are, and it will disable the buttons if there are no more pages to go to. And that's it, we've now implemented pagination. Cool. What we'll take a look at next is adding filters into our application.